I think there are some historical lessons, no? Both strengths and weaknesses that we have in the Karen tradition, that we can take them as lessons for us moving forward in the future. The first one, I guess, is that Karen people in general subscribe to the idea of when a government governs the least, it is the best. And that idea is even consistent with some of the Western ideas of governance. So we do not like a government or any administration that put a lot of pressure or restrictions on us. And I think that is a very good philosophical background that Karen people can take their strength from and utilize it moving forward in establishing governance in our Kawthoolei. The weakness, however, is in the disinterest, or not a lot of Karen people in the past prepared themselves for or had interest in either administration or governance. And we see that even during the colonial administration. We did not have a lot of Karen people who joined, for example, the Indian Civil Service. So we did not have a lot of Karen people who are ICS, members of ICS. But there are other people who joined that colonial administration. We had a lot of Karen professionals. So our strength is in being professionals, but not administrators. That, I think, has to change, and that, I think, is a good lesson for us. Moving forward, we need to change that, and we need to correct that weaknesses from our past history too. I think one of the weaknesses in terms of unity among the Karen people started with our own modern political history. Because if you look at, let's say, for example, Karen National Association, KNA, even KNA, when it was formed, it was first led by a Christian minister. And the weakness that we had was we were not able to garner support from a lot of non-Christian Karen people. So we were not able to build unity among the Karen people with different religious backgrounds. That's, I think, our first and biggest weaknesses. However, I think when we formed KNU, Karen National Union, in 1947, leaders at that time realized historical weaknesses in establishing or building unity that in terms of building unity among the Karen people. So KNU was established by 4 different organizations, both from different religious organizations from different religious background as well. And I think that was one of the historical lessons that we learned, and we are trying to do that. And we are trying to unite among ourselves, regardless of religion, regardless of geographic locations where we reside. However, that unity collapsed in the early 1990s when the Democratic Karen Buddhist Army was established. So we also need to learn from that lesson. And today's leaders need to think about Karen people from who speak different Karen dialects, who are from different religions, and also who are from different geographic areas. In the year 2000s, a lot of Karen people have left the revolutionary area and migrated to many third countries. And when we talk about Karen unities today, not only do we have to think about unity of Karen people from different religions, different religious backgrounds, or Karen people with different linguistic background or different culture background, but also from different geographic areas. And we have to consider, and we have to make sure we also include Karen people who are spreading across all over the world as well. I think, we Karen people in general, we want to be free. We want to exercise our own right to self-determination, either internal self-determination or external self-determination. Depends on our political background. We can have, or we can try both. But I think the reality of our political situation today tells us that pursuing federal democratic future is the best option, political option for us, and our leaders are striving towards that goal. And I also think that is the best option possible for us at this time as well. What we learned from our lesson, I think the best preparation that we can do is to learn to govern, to study governance, to study public administration. I don't think without studying, without pursuing that kind of education, we cannot be ready, or we cannot govern ourselves or administer our own affairs without preparing ourselves in that regard. And therefore, I just want to encourage our people, ourselves, to study public administration, to study governance, to study politics, to study international relations, and be ready with those expertise. In terms of our judicial system, I think we, Karen people, practice community justice system. And we also have community leaders as almost like ombudsmen as well. So before we enter or go into a formal judicial system, leaders in the community try to resolve our differences or conflicts among ourselves, among our villagers. And I think that is a very good practice, because judicial system can be very expensive and can be very lengthy, can take a lot of efforts and energy. So if we can resolve our differences, our conflicts among ourselves, even before we enter any judicial system, I think that is the best. So I think that tradition helps us a lot. However, it is also important for us to also build a modern judicial system, and based on rule of law, based on modern law that we establish for our own community and for all of us to follow. So we also have to study law, and we also need to prepare ourselves that we are not so that we are not a lawless society. We are a law-abiding society. We have our own law. We have our own judicial system. That, I think, is very important for us to establish. Instead of talking about weaknesses and strength in administration or governance, I think we have to admit that since we started our Korean Revolution or our revolution, we have been treating governance as a byproduct of revolution, meaning we focus on military resistance, and because the resistance or the revolution takes longer than we thought, we started doing administration too. Not because we planned to do, but because the revolution took longer than, or takes longer than we want, and we had to do the administration. But I think we should change that mentality and that perspective too. Administration and governance is a must for us, and we have to prepare, train our people, invest in our people for them to be able to govern themselves, for them to be able to make decisions and determine their own affairs. And therefore, I think we need to learn from the lesson from the past that we don't do governance and administration as a byproduct of the revolution, but do it as a primary task or a primary responsibility, because we are fighting, or the revolution is for us to be able to have our own self-determination.